One of my favourite accounts of Jesus in the scriptures is when he calms the storm. You remember that he's at one side of Galilee and he says to the disciples, let us go to the other side, so they all jump in a boat. And not long after that, Jesus falls asleep in this boat. This furious squall of a wind, and the waves get up, as you remember in the story. And it kind of reminds me of life in a sense that, you know, we all begin somewhere and we're all trying to get to somewhere else. And during that journey, we're going to have ups and downs. We're going to have winds and storms coming our way. The winds and storms of life, I guess we could say. But when all this wind and the waves were getting higher, the disciples were starting to panic a little bit, which is surprising considering they're seasoned fishermen. Which tells us again that no matter how mature you are as a Christian, no matter how long you've been a Christian, you're going to go through trials, and some of those trials are going to test us. But what we must never forget is that Jesus is in the boat with us. Okay, on this occasion Jesus is sleeping with his head on a cushion while everything else is going crazy around him, whether it be the weather or the disciples panicking. But he sleeps. Now why is he sleeping? Because he's got no concerns. He knows who's in control of the universe. He knows he can control the winds and the rains. He knows that. So the disciples start to panic because life is getting a bit too much for them. In fact, the Bible says that they were actually afraid, and so he woke them up. And then they asked that question, Teacher, don't you care if we drown? I mean, why would they ask that question? That's like saying to Jesus today, don't you care if I get hurt in my life? Don't you care when I get seriously ill? Don't you care if I lose my job? Well, of course he cares. Of course he loves us. Remember, the storm is all around. They're on this boat and Jesus is still amidst them. We tend to think that Jesus has disappeared when difficult times come. But he's here. He's among us. And he promises to be among us forever. And so when Jesus gets up, he rebukes the wind and the waves and he says, quiet, be still. Be still. Have you ever thought about doing that when life is getting difficult? When trials are coming in our way? When temptations are getting too much? When we think that life has come to its maximum and we can't do any more with it and we start to panic? Do you ever just pause and be still? You see, that's what Jesus did. And he calmed the storm. And notice, it says that they were terrified. They were frightened when the winds and the waves were coming up, but they were terrified when Jesus rebuked them. And they said, who is this? Even the winds and the waves obey this man. And so when we think about authority, when we think about who's in control of our life and the elements around us, when we're going through the storms of life, always remember Jesus is there with us. It may feel like he's fallen asleep. It may feel like he's not concerned, but he is still amongst us. And he is the one who's got the authority to bring all these things to an end. Just at his word, he will rebuke these things. So God bless you. And just remember, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus. No matter what's happening all around us, no matter if the wind starts blowing and there's thunder and lightning and the trials of life get too much for us, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, because he's the one with a word can calm our minds and calm our lives and bring peace back to where it needs to be.